Welcome to St. Augustine this evening, the Mike Davis Show. It is August the 4th. No, it's September the 4th.
It's September, buddy.
Oh my God, do you know what that means? It's 9:04 now
It
day.
is 9:04 now.
Holy cow.
I'm wearing 9:04 blue. I'm wearing all
It is the
blues.
9:04 now day.
Yes. You're in blue
An
too.
entire day. I have some
Little
blue
bit.
on. Yeah, I
Yeah.
got a little bit of blue. And a little bit of khaki. For me, the khaki man on the 9:04 now. It is 9:04 now day. It's where the entire country rejoices.
Yes.
For the formation, the starting, the excellence of the 9:04 now.
Whether they know it or not, whether
they know it or not, they're celebrating today in honor of the one, the only, the all-powerful, the almighty, the all-knowing, the all-seeing genius, Pete Melfi.
Pete Melfi.
Pete Melfi. There, Barbara Jean. I haven't said that many nice things about Pete in years.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
Not with him not in the room.
Why not? I like to kiss ass when he's in the room.
Yeah, when he's in the room, you're very complimentary. It's when he's not in the room.
Not in the room, when he's listening and he's online. And then I kind of needle Pete a little bit just to make sure he's there. But no, this entire network and everything that comes with it, all of the information, all the news, all the fun stuff, the Florida Man games, all of that stuff is due to the creative genius of one man.
Yeah.
Pete Melfi.
Not you? Okay.
Not me. No,
I thought we were talking
I'm
about
not
you
that
again.
creative. No. Pete, my good ideas are not as good as the bad ideas that Pete thought of and went, no, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
Or Pete thought of and Davey said, no, we can't do that.
Yeah.
Those are kind of like my good ideas. Don't even reach that level.
Did you see the latest Van Strange video?
I have not seen the latest Van.
It shows behind the scenes of how the Florida Man games came to be.
Oh,
It's
I
great.
will have to watch. When did it drop?
I saw it yesterday.
Okay.
So maybe yesterday?
I was kind of busy yesterday.
You were a little bit busy.
In my defense, I did have a meeting that lasted from 1 o'clock to
The St. Augustine.
6:30.
Oh, St. Augustine pages have been talking about decisions that happened yesterday.
Have they really?
Oh, yeah. Workforce housing getting voted down and people being mad.
Oh, that wasn't me.
Well, I'm just saying.
That we didn't vote on
Decisions
workforce
made
housing.
yesterday were
the-
being discussed.
At the county planning and zoning, which
I
is
think that was
different
city.
than the city.
Oh,
You'll have to go look and see.
I'll see. Pull it up.
I don't think we voted workforce housing.
No.
I'm 99% sure of that.
They might have been misinformed.
I'd be curious to see which issue it was. I can't
Yeah.
talk about if it's coming back before us, but I know for a fact that I don't remember that. While you're searching,
Oh, there are people talking about how you make money.
I
We'll talk
will
about
make money and then we will talk about it because you get the story ready, load it up, get prepared. All right. Powell Heating and Air Conditioning, they've been serving St. Augustine for 39 years. They are dedicated to customer service, and it's evident in everything they do from the moment they answer your call until the time they leave your home, having fixed your problem and making you more comfortable. You got to call Powell. They're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That includes nights, weekends, and holidays, which is really all year long, all day long, all night long. They've got a fleet of over 10 trucks and a 15,000 square foot warehouse stocked with parts and equipment ready to service you around the clock, and they service all heating and air conditioning brands. Powell Heating and Air Conditioning, 904-794-2665.
Awesome. Opening their doors in 2008, Brightway Insurance, the Casey agency, they have proudly stood by their customers through hurricanes, major floods, hail, and fires. Through these events, the agency has become a much-needed insurance resource in times of trouble and hardship. Honesty and integrity are the pillars of our core values, says owner Ashley Casey. They pride themselves on being insurance experts while developing strategies that help their clients meet their insurance needs. They truly enjoy the relationships that they have forged with you, St. Augustine, for all your insurance needs. Brightway Insurance, the Casey agency. I just got an email from them. Evidently, I auto-renewed on my homeowner's insurance. So, yay. Thank you, Brightway Insurance.
Thank you, Brightway, for making it so easy for a mom of three and teacher to get all of that stuff done. See how easy it is to work with our sponsors.
Y'all did it so I didn't have to.
Yes.
Solar Stick. They were established in 2006. Solar Stick is a local portable power company proudly committed to American manufacturing, constant innovation, and creating jobs right here in St. Augustine, Florida. Solar Stick's focus on providing solutions for self-sufficiency helps users all over the world complete missions and save lives. Solar Stick, changing lives, saving lives, and reviving American manufacturing.
And Moultrie Creek Diner and Anastasia Diner. They're neighborhood diners that are more than just a place to eat. They are where hospitality blooms and friends gather. Bring your own friends or make new ones. The coffee is always hot. The smiles are genuine and the food tastes like home. Every meal is a chance to make memories, share stories, and create bonds that last a lifetime. It's not just about the food on the plate, but the community that comes together at the table. Come see us at Moultrie Creek Diner, Anastasia Diner, and tell them Andy sent you. Please tell them Andy sent you.
Did you hear what Andy did?
I heard that there was something really amazing that he did, but before we get to the amazing thing he did, Susan Johnson actually got Darcy cookies. Actually got Darcy chocolate chip cookies. We brought them in on Saturday. I'm trying to remember what day we were there. Saturday morning. I'm pretty sure it was Saturday. It was either Saturday or Monday morning. And brought cookies in. It must have been Saturday. And so we got swarmed by staff.
I bet.
It's like they were throwing people out of chairs and tables
I
so we could
imagine
have seats.
Darcy's probably the most popular person.
She is the most popular
anywhere
person.
she goes.
Yes. And I'm so glad there was quite a few cookies, but staff got some. Andy got some. Susan Johnson finally got some.
Nice.
So I think that is awesome. We could not trust one man to get them to her.
That is true.
He was honest.
A great, wonderful man.
A great, wonderful man who has no self-control when it comes to chocolate chip cookies made by my wife.
That is true.
I don't blame him. I don't have any self-control with him either.
Yeah.
And there's times I'm giving him to come into the office, and maybe they make him into the office, maybe they don't.
I have to say, Isabella baked a batch of chocolate chip cookies over the weekend.
Yeah.
That was fantastic.
We
We might need to have a taste off, a cookie off
We can do
between
that.
Isabella
I
and
don't want to
Darcy.
crush that poor child's.
I mean,
I'm just saying.
blind taste test. That's all I'm saying.
I'm just saying.
These are real good cookies.
I'm not doing a blind taste test because if I'm wrong, I don't ever get chocolate chip cookies again, and I go to sleep outside. So that is not. No way, no how is that happening.
So you'll host a blind taste test of other people?
Yes.
All right.
I'm not participating. I've got too much at stake. My life, my livelihood, and my chocolate chip cookie freedom all depend on me picking the right one.
Yeah.
I would have to know what it was before. Actually, I probably would know anyway.
You probably would.
I would probably know anyway.
Probably
So,
be able
yes.
to identify size or
Yes.
something.
And we do, just by taste.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now. Jackie Hurd.
I want to test this now.
Jackie Hurd. I know you do. You brought in new Coke that was flatter than
I can't help what eBay sends me.
a 2x4. And it was not good. It was bad.
No. You still couldn't pick it out,
I
though.
couldn't pick it out because it didn't taste like new Coke. Jackie, we love your calendar.
We do.
But on this day, September the 4th, it should say 9:04 now
doesn't
day.
say.
It should clearly say that. I'm going to text you offline and say when
We
the
love you,
calendars
Jackie.
are printed, it has to say that.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that you've got this amazing picture of the Castillo with the moon, and it's beautiful. But what we really want to see in September, because it's 9:04 now,
Mhm.
is the poster. That we want to see the billboard. We want to see
need a Florida Man
the
Games
Florida Man
picture.
Games picture, anything like that. So,
don't know.
Jackie, if you want this calendar to truly represent St. Augustine, we know that you do. We need a little more Pete Melfi.
There were some great Florida Man game pictures.
Yes.
But I have to say, we went to a silent auction. I think you were out of town, but it was in one of the buildings that is attributed to you. Your name was on the plaque. And
we go around and put those on a lot of buildings. I'm just kidding.
at the very least, your name's on the plaque. But one of the things we tried to win two things in the silent auction. One of the things was a session with Jackie Hurd.
Mm-hmm.
And it was between us and one other person. And Louis good, but he got outbid the last second.
Louis.
So I almost got to meet Jackie Hurd. I almost got to get Jackie Hurd pictures.
This is like a family get together.
It was a silent auction it was the Staying Alive benefit
Okay.
that just happened about a month ago.
Mhm.
And so it was a family session. Yeah, like
Family
Christmas card,
Christmas. Okay.
family card, mini session situation. So we almost won. We were
All right,
so close.
So I've got to get you signed up for that with Jackie. And
Mhm.
I want 9:04 now day
yeah.
clearly on the September 4th.
Mm-hmm. I feel like the logo should be there.
It really should be.
9:04 now day.
Yes. 9:04 now day on the St. Augustine calendar. And when people say, we don't know what that is, well, you're not local.
Yeah.
You're not local.
Well, it would
That's
be in
always-
she attributes things.
I
She's got a page that she
fully
attributes.
get that should be there.
It should.
I'm just saying, and we really would like the billboard from
For
State
like
Road 16.
$8 we can get a
We
sticker.
would really like the billboard from State Road 16 or Van Johnson in any Athletic apparel in action, an action shot.
Van Johnson. Who's Van Johnson?
Van Strange.
Van Strange.
Van Johnson's the
Not
guy
Van
that
Jones.
lost.
Van
I
Johnson.
was thinking of Don Johnson because Don Johnson's been on all kinds of ads lately for some new show that's like a knockoff of The Love Boat.
Okay.
He's the cruise ship captain, and it's about the doctor on the cruise ship. And
I can't watch it. They miscast whoever it is who's the cruise director. They should have cast Davey.
Davey could have been the cruise
That
ship.
is the role of a lifetime.
Davey 100%.
He would have nailed it. It would have been the Davey show.
It
He
would
would
have
have
been.
upstaged Don Johnson.
The problem is people would have had to ride bicycles up the ramp to get on the boat. That's
No,
the problem. They
they're
would have been
stationary
losing
bikes.
so many people off the gangway.
They're stationary.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's not the way that works.
Davey.
There's a lot going on right now. There's all kinds of things. We had the Pechacucha people. So if you don't have your Pechacucha tickets yet,
Okay.
they're at Dog Rose this Saturday.
Okay.
So they came in, they talked. I know you always watch the show when you're not here. So it's 20 images for 20 seconds each. They're doing a Sing Out Loud special show. So it's going to be 6 p.m. this Saturday at Dog Rose. It's just a $10 suggested donation if you can. And there are going to be 3 musical artists that are there. They're going to be doing a visual presentation. It's sort of behind the music, storytelling, and then they're going to play sets. So you're going to hear from 3 different musicians that are amazing. We had one of them in here last night, Shayna.
Yep.
And then it's going to be visual. It's going to be perfect. Great place to hang out, see people. It'll be awesome. Pechacucha. Then we have Task Force Hydra 1. They're doing Stoking Saturdays. That's on Saturday.
And there's going to be
Also,
waves on Saturday.
Will there be?
There will be surf on Saturday. I can tell you that. Don't know how choppy it's going to be, but there is going to be surf on Saturday.
So Volano Walkover, Surf Meetup.
Mhm.
Check out Stoking Saturdays. And then Andy, do you want me to tell you what Andy did?
Please tell me before you tell me what I did, maybe supposedly at
I don't know if you did it or not.
I
I'm
don't know
just
if I'm
saying.
involved or not.
All I said was
Let's-
that decisions were made last night and people are mad.
Well, let's see what decisions were made and then let me know about
Eesh.
what did Andy do. Let's start on the high note and end with me screwing something up.
So with Jimmy Jam, if you
Yes.
buy, I think it's 5 racks of ribs, then Andy will give you a free breakfast.
Okay.
They're trying to raise money for a local grandma who's raising her grandkids, and she's doing an amazing job. She just lost her husband, and so the community's trying to rally around this family, and they're selling Spencer's amazing ribs. So if you order 5 slabs of Spencer's ribs through the Jimmy Jam Community Outreach, then Andy will give you a free breakfast. You have to have proof of purchase of your 5 slabs before you die.
How much does the 5 slabs cost? Do we know?
I don't know.
Do we know what the 5 slabs of ribs cost?
I just heard that Andy's giving away breakfast. Let me see if I can find this.
I know, I was
the
just
price for
curious.
the slabs.
First of all, the breakfast is priceless. So let's
All
just
right, I got
start
it.
there.
It's right here.
Okay.
All right, so barbecue fundraiser, pre-order slabs of spare ribs. It's $25 per slab.
Okay. So
You pick up on the 21st.
Yeah.
So you've got dinner for what?
weeks. At
At
my
least-
house, weeks. There's 2 of us, so weeks.
At least 5 people you got dinner.
Yeah. Yeah.
So help out a local family in memory of Rich Farrell. He passed away, and his wife is now on her own raising their grandkids. And Jimmy Jam's trying to help
What is
him out.
his wife's name? Does it say?
Tim put it in the comments. I'll pull it up.
Okay. All right.
I'll pull it up.
All right. Just curious as to who. Okay. Who
Yeah.
were helping?
Who are helping?
And when is that? When do they have to purchase by?
I don't have a purchase by date. I have pre-order and I have pickup on the 21st.
So by the pre-order before the 20th,
Yeah.
probably.
I would
And
guess.
pickup is on the 21st. So you got 2 weeks to get this.
Yeah, you got
Okay.
2 weeks.
Awesome.
And meal plan in September around Jimmy Jam's order of a
Man,
rib.
I know those ribs sound amazing.
They're really good. Let me pull up the show from yesterday because
Tim had it in the comments.
Tim had
there.
it in the comments.
Okay.
Who were helping?
I just want to make sure we get all this
All right.
information out
The
before I
Farrell
get
family
disparaged for
needs
something I may or may not have
They're
done
in the
yesterday.
comments. I don't have it up because I pulled up the story already about the angry peoples.
Okay, well, just stick with the angry
make
people
sure-
story.
Let me make sure I'm muted.
Oh gosh, what did we
I
do?
don't want to mute.
What did I supposedly do?
I don't know. Okay, so there's a story on First Coast News.
Is that a new phone case?
Um,
It looks new.
about a month or 2 I've had this one.
Okay.
So yeah, it's newish.
New
First Coast News reported on, you're right, it is the county. They voted down workforce. Well, you probably remember what you voted on more than I know.
I kind of do.
I would imagine
I'm not
you
that old
remember.
yet. Tomorrow's a different story, but
people
not
were
yesterday.
super mad. They're super mad. So at first it was people being mad because it was mostly Volano Beach people or Ponte Vedra people that were talking in favor of workforce housing development. That would be like,
where was this workforce housing development?
dude, I was just reporting on people being mad.
There's one that's kind of out there that's
Yeah.
kind of been interesting, and I don't know
Okay.
if it passed or it didn't pass, or I think it passed planning and zoning, but I don't know if it passed the commission.
All right.
So if it's the one off
It's
of
one near Wildwood,
Wildwood Drive to Watson Road.
Osceola Lakes.
Yes. So that proposed development would have tied Watson Road, the west end of Watson Road, and there would have been a road that ran down and tied into Wildwood Drive, which would have tied that whole area together off of US 1. So there were residents that felt like they had been there a long time, and that was not part of the original deal when they moved in,
Okay.
is that those roads were going to be tied together and that there was
Mhm.
already a lot of traffic on Wildwood.
Yeah.
And if you made that a cut through to another neighborhood where people could get to 207 quicker
Yep.
without going on US 1, it would just make it more congested. So that was some of the argument against. Obviously, argument for is, hey, we're building workforce housing.
Yeah.
Um,
And the Young family who's owned the land since the 1800s, they said that they wanted it to benefit the county in some way. So I think that's why it's being developed into workforce housing. He wants people that work here to be able to live here. And I think that's really cool. But I hope they can come to some consensus. We do need workforce housing. But people on the Book of Faces, they were mad because it was Ponte Vedra people coming in being like, yeah, you should totally do this. You should totally clog your streets and keep it here and not have it in our neighborhood. And then people were mad about how many houses were approved on the north end of the county, especially, Silverleaf is always the boogeyman that is brought up in these conversations. That all the houses in Silverleaf, nobody cared about traffic congestion there, but suddenly we care about traffic congestion where it is. But I'm on Wildwood frequently. It is busy. People speed like crazy. People have died on Wildwood.
so when I had a friend who almost died on Wildwood in an accident on the north end.
Mm-hmm.
There's a big curve there, and if you look, there's a big pine tree, and there's a whole chunks and sections out of the pine tree at the bottom. One of my friends took out part of that section a long time ago. Thank God he's still alive.
Yeah.
But, so there was no traffic on Wildwood when I was a kid. Obviously, there's more traffic now.
Mm-hmm.
To me, the difference between that is Silverleaf is almost a contained community. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's so big, and there's shopping inside of that, and there's all kinds of things. This one, you're driving, wherever you go, you're driving to get to it, and you're driving to get away from it.
Mm-hmm.
Workforce housing, too, I'm all for it, right? I mean, I think it's great, but I think you got to put it proximity-wise. Workforce housing there, that's a long way for somebody in workforce housing to travel. It's not on a bus route. It's not going to help you get picked up and get to somewhere else.
Yeah.
So to me, those are some kind of things that you wish would get worked out.
Mm-hmm.
Is it possible to get a pickup down there so you don't, would the COA run a bus line down there? Is another way to do that? But, there's not the amount of work that's available around there. There is some jobs. There's restaurants down there and things like that. There's hydro, aluminum is down there as well. So there's lots of stuff that's around there, but you're just kind of trying to get people close to jobs as well.
All right.
What were some of the comments?
Andy says that he wants to judge the cookie off between Darcy and my daughter.
I will 100% allow Andy and Pete and Susan Johnson to be judges.
That sounds good.
Yes.
Let's get it booked.
Darcy will make cookies.
Isabella will too, but if I tell her that they're going to go up against Darcy, she might not make them. No one wants to go against Darcy.
Listen, she should go. She could be the queen for life from a very young age.
This last batch was good, though.
Was it good?
I mean, my mom was looking at those cookies, and I was like, you need to have one. She's like, I don't know that I need a cookie. I was like, no, you need to taste this cookie.
I don't want to say anything because there's things I'm like, hey, what about this? What about this? I don't want to give the secrets of the recipe away. So I'm just not going to say anything. But
I know my daughter has spent a lot of time with your wife.
Yes.
So if her cookies are good, whether she's given her the recipe or not, I'm just going to attribute them to Darcy because I only took her so far.
The goodness exudes from Darcy and everyone around her. She lights up the room.
Yes.
Unlike me, generally angers half the room.
Same.
I know. All right, there
Is that why we're in a room alone together?
Yes, we're the only two people who want to see each other between 5 and 6 o'clock.
Except for all you lovely people in the comments.
I know. The St. Augustine Distillery was honored for its dedication to industry and innovation. This is a story out of the Jacksonville Business Journal. The American Distilling Institute honored the St. Augustine Distillery. Got to distill a lot there. With the highest accolade, the Bubble Cap Award for Distillery of the Year at its annual conference, August 27th in Baltimore. I'm assuming that's Maryland.
Probably.
ADI President Eric Owens presented the award to the distillery's founders, one Philip, longtime guest of this show, Mike Diaz, occasionally a guest, and the Vice President of Production, Rick Del Montemolon. I messed that up.
I hope you did.
You try that. Rick De Montemolon?
De Montemolon. Yeah, that's the best you can do.
Rick, congratulations.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, I just wanted to give them, I should have just stopped at Philip and Mike.
Rick,
Philip, Mike, and Rick, congratulations, dudes, for getting that done.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was it. Well, I'm glad I wasn't the one who messed up the planning and zoning too. So
yeah.
Yeah.
So they're mad, but it's county level mad.
That's a bigger mad than city level mad.
Well, it's a bigger place.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's 15,000 people in the city, so there's a number of people we can make angry there. However, there's 300,000 people in the county, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's a lot more people you can make mad in the county. But I do agree. I love it when people come down from certain parts of the county and tell other parts of the county this is how you should do things.
How they should use their land.
Yes.
I mean, I do think we need to start figuring out creative solutions for workforce housing. I mean, Barry Browdy is working on that. Is still?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. So I think we've got some people out there that want to help.
Yes.
I just hope we can figure out a way to make that happen.
Well, and I think the hard part is you have construction costs, but if there's not an incentive, either a property tax incentive or discounts on impact fees or some way to do that, developers are behind the 8 ball all the time in workforce housing.
Yeah.
So the water and sewer connection fees, depending on which municipality you're in, it's St. John's JEA or City of St. Augustine, can be pretty steep at times for the connections. The proposed connections for the 8-unit complex we're doing on State Road 16 for Home Again. So this is housing for homeless. The connection fees for that and the service center were originally proposed were north of $70,000.
Dude.
So
like you could put a house there, but do you want power? Do you want running water?
Yeah. So there's something, I mean, that's kind of the interesting thing. People that aren't in development or construction think all this stuff just gets rubber stamped through. It never does. It's a very difficult and painstaking process to get something approved. And then when you get it approved, there's a lot of infrastructure issues that you may or may not have to deal with depending on where the development is. So, yeah. And the other is, like we talked about on the show, there are people that own property that it's zoned appropriately to do what they want to do, and they've owned it for years. Here's a family that, according to the story, has owned this property for a long time and is trying to figure out how to give back.
Yeah.
But I think part of that is you got to talk to the residents in these different areas, right? If you're, hey, I'm giving back to this segment, but I'm going to make it harder on people that have already lived here and have been here.
Yeah.
And didn't realize a whole nother subdivision was coming in behind them.
Yeah.
Makes a difference.
Yeah. I mean, my mom's in a subdivision that one day it was just announced that they were breaking ground on a phase that she didn't know was going to be a phase when she bought there. So it's a thing.
I think there's some developers that are really honest and upfront with people. And I think there's some developers that probably are lacking in that regard. There's Tire subdivision that was built, near and around Hydra. And, oh my gosh, they work with aluminum all day long.
Yeah, shocker.
Yes, shocker. And then they drop aluminum scrap on the ground at any number of hours. And can you imagine what aluminum sounds like when it falls out of a semi truck trailer onto concrete?
I can't imagine that sounds good.
No, I can't imagine that sounds good. It sounds like Pete Melfi when he rants about a merry-go-round. It sounds like that. That's what it sounds like.
Did you hear that they put all of our faces on a carousel?
Who
have
is
been
they?
the morning show crew.
What?
So they have been photoshopping silly pictures for Read the Comments, Troy. And I have access to Blake's design software.
You are on the top of the carousel.
And so, yeah, I saw that and I had to download it. You're down here.
Oh, that's not an awful picture of me.
I mean, it could be worse.
Yeah, it's not awful.
You don't have a handlebar
Considering the
mustache.
things I have said
Or
about
a
Pete,
Fu Manchu.
considering the things I've said about Pete and Clay and Davey and Blake, really fortunate that's as bad as it was.
Yeah.
Yes, that was an opportunity for them to really like just get a dig at me. So I'm very fortunate that.
Yeah. It's not that
Ooh,
bad.
thank goodness it wasn't worse.
So Davey pointed out affordable housing is not $275,000.
Mm-hmm.
When I bought my first house.
Davey, depends what the cheapest house in St. Johns County is, and it might be turning.
Well, when I bought my first house, and that was 2006, affordable housing, when I was talking to my coworkers. Now, meanwhile, I was working in a job where after a raise, I was making $7.50 an hour. My coworkers were laughing about this development that was being built on like an old dump site that I didn't realize was the development I was buying into, and laughing how they were selling those houses for $140. And that's where I bought a house. I mean, we never flooded because we were very high, but 140 was, that was affordable housing at that point. And that developer had all sorts of incentives that if you qualified for an affordable housing property, which you had to go to classes for, you had to fill out paperwork, you had to go through credit counseling, you had to go through this whole process that we were able to complete. My husband went along with me. We weren't engaged yet because we were thinking that we might get married, so he might need to be on that mortgage.
Who was on the trial? Were you testing him or was he testing you?
I mean, we're testing
I'm
each other.
just sticking, like I'm stirring the pot.
Testing each other.
Okay, all right.
But yeah, so the developer there was a grant, a home grant, where $32,000 off for every one of the $140,000 houses.
Yep.
So we only had to finance about 108, 109 at that point, which made it affordable for us. We had a mortgage of $91,000 for our first home. And that sounds ridiculous now. Zero money down, and our mortgage was $91,000. 2006. Just before the bubble burst. We were supposed to be in phase 1 of 2.
Of Del Boca Vista?
Of a neighborhood in town. I was Davey and Barbara Jean's neighbor at one point, but we didn't know each other then. And so I was in the West King area. And yeah, it ended up being first phase of like 6 because the bubble burst and they only developed a handful here or there over the course of the next 10 years. I don't even think they had fully developed by the time we left 13 years later.
$69,000.
$69,000?
First house.
That's not that bad though.
On the island.
Compared
1990, January 1990.
So you were on the island. You were like, you could probably spit to the water. From where you were.
We were on the poor,
I was on a dump.
On the poor side of the street. We were on the poor side of the street. They did tear a house down across the street. And for about 3 months, we had the most beautiful sunsets out of our front window. It was just awesome.
Yeah.
And yeah, they built a big house, and that was the end of that.
Yeah.
But it was their property, and it was their view, and I was happy to have the 3 months of sunsets.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Nice.
No, we stayed in that house for 5 years.
Yeah, we were on the side of the street that got developed first, and there was a pond in the center of the neighborhood. We were on one of the early streets in the neighborhood, and so until our neighbor across the street was built, we could see the pond. Yeah, it was dirt in between us and the pond, but we could see the pond.
But it was a pond.
It was a pond.
Waterfront property.
And so my husband and his friends would. They had just a bag of busted golf balls, and they would shoot golf balls from our front yard into the pond. It's fun.
Yeah. I mean, that's what dudes do. Now,
we were newlywed. Cool, we had no money. So.
Is if they were shooting golf balls and then trying to knock them out of the air with a rifle. So that would have been even better. Or a
We would have
shotgun.
gotten busted for that.
Yeah,
We're-
that probably
we
would have
were
been
within
bad.
city limits. We couldn't do that.
That probably would have been bad.
We would have definitely been busted.
Yeah, that would have been bad. That would have been really,
It'd have been fun though.
yes. Would have
I
been
wanted
super
to Viking funeral our Christmas tree in that pond, but Louis wouldn't let me.
fun. Louis is such a killjoy. I would have been like, yeah, let's do that.
I know it would have been fun.
Let's go. Yes. Would have asked Troy if I could borrow his boat,
Mhm.
and then I would have burned the tree in the boat.
Yeah.
That's how I would have.
Good News Church does a Christmas tree bonfire for their youth group.
Oh, cool.
They do it like a s'mores hot chocolate night,
That would be fun.
and it's like the first youth group back after Christmas, I think.
Yeah.
You can tell they're not Episcopal or Catholics because it's still before Epiphany. So Christmas isn't over yet for some of us, but they're burning Christmas trees then. Yep.
Kamala Harris has something to say about housing.
Oh, man.
She had something to say this week.
I didn't bring booze.
She said that when she's president, she's going to end the housing shortage.
Yeah?
She's going to end the housing shortage.
How's she going to manage that?
Well, they're going to help make sure that we're building 3 million homes and rentals in the 4 years that she is president.
Okay. How's she
Now-
going to do that?
Well, I don't know how she's going to do that, but there's a problem with the number.
She been reading FDR's notes?
There's a problem with the number. The United States is currently building 1.4 million homes per year.
Okay.
Let's round up to 1.5, so the math is easy.
Mm-hmm.
Her 3 million, right, would be 750,000 homes a year, which is
Okay.
roughly half of what
what
the
is
United
currently-
States is currently building. So
Mhm.
her plan to help is to build half as many homes
Build
as we did before. It's brilliant. It's not been tried, Cotton. Bold strategy.
So she did what the classic underachiever does
Mhm.
and sets the goal low
Yes.
so that you can't not hit your goal.
Mm-hmm.
So then she can come back theoretically for re-election in 4 years and be like, not only did we build the 3 million I promised you, but we built 6 million.
houses, which is what we were already building anyway.
Yeah.
There has been a downturn in housing. It's the first downturn since the Great Recession of 2008,
Yeah.
and that has been going on for the last 12 months. So housing has already started to slow down.
Oy,
So
oy, oy.
yeah, it's not good.
I
So
don't like it.
no, both multifamily, which is that rental housing,
Mm-hmm.
and first-time home buying at some places. So yes,
Well, I mean, birth rate's going down.
Bobby, it better
So
been of
maybe we
outside San Antonio.
Don't need that many new houses, right?
Well,
We're not bringing people in by the millions. We don't have a need for all these extra houses.
you know what though? There's always overflow hotels in New York. I hear there's a lot of
I
vacancies in New
hear
York
they're
in the hotels.
pretty full.
I've heard that if you're looking for a place to live, New York City might be the place to go. What happens? My battery went dead on my headset.
No.
It just every once in a while it goes dead. I forgot to silence
See me
it.
keeping my computer screen on?
I see you.
I don't
keeping
even
it.
have Facebook pulled up anymore on my computer because it
Yes.
betrays me every time it goes to sleep.
We're going to talk about this tomorrow too, because Troy and Blake and Lenny will be here for
Yeah.
trivia. But the Chamber of Commerce came out with a new poll. Your Florida number 3, Amendment 3 is for weed. It's the weed
Yes,
amendment.
It is the weed
We were
amendment.
biking this weekend and somebody had a sign in their yard, vote yes for 3, and it had the weed symbol. And Darcy
Mhm.
said, that's the one for pot. And I'm like, you caught the reference. Yes,
Yeah.
you did. You caught the
I love
reference.
that I keep seeing vote for 3 signs and then I look at the location and it's in front of a dispensary. Like, gee, I wonder if there's a conflict of interest in that
No,
sign.
that is not a conflict. That's self-preservation
It is.
is what that is.
It is.
It's but you need 60% to pass an amendment. We
Yeah.
as the voters decided with a 51% vote that we would change the process to make it a 60% vote. Just got to think about this for a second. I'm not against it.
Mhm.
It was the year after the pregnant pig thing went through. Oh, look it up. We passed a law or an amendment in the Constitution about pregnant pigs. So right now, there's about 59% of the voters that support Amendment 3, according to the latest surveys. So the
How many?
59%,
59.
right at the threshold, right? You know, I
I mean,
certainly
Troy's
hope.
joke.
I certainly hope that the people that want this don't forget to vote because they're high that day. That's all I'm saying. I hope that they're motivated enough to get off the couch and go.
Hey, Troy, 59 and I'll owe you one.
Yeah. You'll owe him 10. You'll owe him 10.
No, it's always owe you one.
Okay. The lack of movement and support from Floridians over the past year comes despite more than $75 million being raised to promote the amendment, over $70 million of which has come from Florida's largest medical marijuana provider.
Gee, I wonder.
Self-preservation.
You know who's weirdly really pro legalized weed?
Troy?
Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
Yeah.
He's like super.
Heck
I was
yeah.
so surprised by that Morgan & Morgan, they use their private jet to go and lobby pro weed. It's very strange connection there.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know.
I've heard he's got a lot of property tied up in weed growth. and that what he's trying to do is
he'd like to not be arrested.
Well, no, he's already got a driver everywhere he goes.
Yeah.
So, and that's so he can do whatever, he could drink or do whatever he wants to do. He's got a driver everywhere he goes. So listen, I'm not a fan of what Morgan represents, right?
No.
But if he's smart enough to have a driver everywhere he goes, there are a lot of athletes and a lot of celebrities that would do well to learn from that.
Yeah. Justin Timberlake, this is going to ruin the world tour.
Yes. It's going to ruin the world tour, buddy.
Yeah. So I thought it was a sister. I remembered it was a sibling connection. That's why he's so for it. He says that weed saved I guess it was brother.
His brother had I believe an accident, and this is all from memory, so this could be a little bit wrong. I think he was working as a lifeguard at Disney, dove in a pool, and I think he had a spinal injury. That's my recollection. If I'm wrong, I apologize for being wrong.
Okay. So I don't know how weed saved someone's life from a spinal injury.
I don't know whether we don't know there's a pain.
I do know that he attributes weed to helping a sibling. That's all I remember.
There's a lot of people that say with different pain, they'd rather be on weed than on the pain medication.
Yeah.
I can't disagree with that because I don't.
Yeah. It's a side effect.
I'm not a huge fan of some of the pain medication.
Yeah.
Like I said, and I've never been somebody, never smoked pot. I don't want to smoke pot. It's just not on my radar. The whole drug thing I never understood until I had a herniated disc back in 95. Mm-hmm. I didn't need a watch. I knew what time it was by how I felt.
Yeah.
And I knew when that next pill was time to take just because of how I felt. So I didn't understand there's people in that kind of severe pain until I went through that. After the surgery, they gave me some. I went home and tossed them all in the trash. I didn't want another one for the rest of my life. But I could see how people could get addicted to it. And around that time, an article came out on Brett Favre about throwing up a pain pill.
Yeah.
Fishing it out of the throat, washing it off, and then swallowing it. Now, I would have told you before I went through that back pain, there's no way I would have done that.
Yeah.
If you had told me your livelihood depends on you getting out on that field and you have to feel good enough to perform for the next 3 hours, I'd be like, yeah, that's doable.
Yeah.
So
for how many millions of dollars? I mean,
a lot of millions.
Davey, I love you, but you said something that's kind of irks me, and that's, Jesus made it. It's natural. So arsenic's natural, cyanide's natural. Just because something's natural doesn't mean it's good for you. Doesn't mean it's healthy.
Davey, don't argue with her about this.
It's just
Davey, don't do it.
It just bothers me, but I do agree that the more natural you can get, then typically the better. I would usually rather go with the natural substance over the synthetic, depending on, why the synthetic was produced.
Horse poop's natural. I wouldn't eat that either.
I wouldn't eat that either.
No. Be careful, Davey. There's natural stuff out there that's not good for you.
So there is a skincare treatment that is bird poop. Davey's got to know this. That's bird poop. And people are putting this bird poop serum stuff, mask on their face. And it's supposed to be amazing. So idiots are now pooping in a cup because they can't afford the bird poop serum, and they're rubbing their own poop on their face. And these people vote, and they're going to vote for Amendment 3. Back to the story.
I was so hungry a second ago.
Oh, it's so gross. There's videos of people like smearing their
No.
face
No.
with their own excrement because they can't afford the bird poop.
Ugly people, just join me and embrace it. It's all okay. It's all going to be fine.
Ew.
Why do you think I have Troy on the show?
So mean. Stop. Troy's very fashionable.
He's very
He's
fashionable.
a dashing man
He's
with
a
a hat.
dashing grandfather. He's amazing.
I'm sorry. I have no control.
I was joking with Adam about that today. He said he was, we were talking during the day about something, and I was like, hey, what are you doing tonight? So I got the show. You want to come on the show? He's like, no, I'm going on a date. And I said, with your grandchildren?
Oh, you are a grandfather.
I am a grandfather. I'm very grateful. Two.
And aren't you
grandkids.
like 3 months older than Troy?
I'm not much older than Troy. In his mind, I'm years older than him.
Uh-huh.
That's fine. I can
Yeah.
live with that. I got grandkids.
Are you 69 days older than Troy?
No, I'm not. No, I owe him one, whatever that means.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what that means. So I don't
In
get
this
that.
context, I don't know what it
either.
means.
Oh, that's not good. All
Baby,
right.
call me.
So there's a big controversy out there.
More than just the chat.
Huge. Yes.
All right.
There's a huge controversy. Alexa.
Alexa.
Has
Yes.
anybody seen the Alexa videos that are showing up?
Yes.
So in the one I sent you earlier
Mhm.
today, I think
I've got
it
it.
was it's on Instagram.
Yeah.
So this gentleman is trying to ask his Alexa who to vote for. Can you feed that?
Yeah, I've got it in.
Cool.
So he asks.
Facebook owns Instagram, so we're good with that, right?
Yeah, I didn't put sound, but they've got subtitles. So he asks if he should vote for Trump, and they say, I don't comment on politics. Should I vote for Kamala Harris? And then, because you believe in her policies and her vision for the country, because you trust her experience and her leadership skills, because you want to move forward as a nation and progress on issues and blah, 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 blah. This is not the first time
Oh,
Alexa.
it's better. He asks, why should I not vote
Okay.
for Donald Trump or not vote for Kamala Harris?
He does Donald Trump first.
Yes. And there's a long
And there are
list.
several reasons. So now she suddenly has an opinion
Now
about
she
Donald
has
Trump.
a political opinion
Yeah,
about
some
Donald
people are
Trump.
concerned about his policies,
Yes.
such as his stance on immigration, healthcare, and the environment. Has Alexa not gotten the memo that Kamala wants to build a wall now too?
Apparently not.
Oh my word.
Apparently AI is not that smart. And then asks, why would you not vote for Kamala Harris? To which case she's back to, I
can't comment.
I can't comment on that.
All right.
So it's obvious of the bias in whoever is programming that part of Alexa.
Yep.
It's ridiculous. First of all, anybody that has figured this out, hats off to them for asking the question.
Yeah.
But secondly, why do you have the spy machine in your house?
I hate
Why
Alexa.
do you have that in your house? You
I don't
already
have
have a phone that's
echoes.
spying on you, a computer that's spying on you, a car that might be spying on you, depending how new
So
it
that's
is,
the reason I
and
know.
a TV.
A ton of people I know that have them are like, well, I'm already being spied on by all
I
of
hear
my
that all
smart
the time.
devices.
No.
So I might as well have one that will also make my grocery list.
Nope, don't
That's
need a
what they
grocery
say.
list from a computer.
Get
Listen,
cozy.
if I got to help those little droids cross the street out in LA,
You did.
I don't need them to bring me groceries. I was a nice guy that day to that droid.
You were.
Yes.
So this is not the first time that Alexa's gone in, had some.
Oh, Alexa's very biased.
Well, Alexa had a controversy, conservative commentary comedian, so-and-so. He put out a video during their like Christmas break from their podcast, showing him asking Alexa about various religious leaders and prophets and deities. And Alexa was not too nice about Jesus, but very complimentary about other religious leaders like Muhammad. And it was kind of a scandal, but that was many, many moons ago, and no one's supposed to remember past a week ago. So
There was an old Saturday Night Live skit
mhm.
about an old version of Alexa for
Mhm.
older people. I can't remember what it was called, but it was absolutely hilarious.
Well, Alexa thinks Jesus is a fictional character,
Muhammad was real, though.
but Muhammad was real.
Again,
And very
I trust.
complimentary about Muhammad. We actually have a lot of evidence that Jesus was a real person. You can argue whether or not he was the Son of God and whether he was half part man, part God. But we have more evidence that Jesus lived and walked the earth than we do for Alexander the Great. So if you think Alexander the Great is a real historical figure, then you can't deny the historicity of Jesus.
The Shroud of Turin was they redated it just recently. I don't know if you saw this, but it dates.
I saw a lot of Shroud of Turin stories.
Yeah, there was a Shroud of Turin story probably about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, and through whether they carbon dated it or whatever, it was very.
They did, because the original, like, this is not the Shroud of Jesus, was a carbon dating thing, and people were claiming that, well, you know, the edge was tattered and it was woven and rewoven, so that they might have sampled from part of the rewoven part of the shroud. And so, you know, that was the faith side of the argument for why that carbon dating test was not accurate according to their story about the Shroud of Turin. So
Bobby, Alexa is not a relative of HAL. It is an improvement on HAL. It was 2001 Space Odyssey. So Alexa's had 23, almost 24 years to get better, more deceptive, and more evil than HAL.
Yeah.
Alexa's not good. I don't get, eventually people are going to get fed up. And we talked about this a couple weeks ago about, what was it called? Surveillance capitalism.
Oh, yeah.
So right now, all of these marketers are surveilling us and the things we talk about and the things we mention. And then that'll be the next ad that shows up. It's getting worse and worse. I will mention random things in job site meetings. And then the next time I go look something up, that's the ad, is that random thing. If I get one more ad for drinking cold water for diabetes, I am going to just throw my phone across the.
Yeah. My kids will talk to me about this concert or that concert because my daughter desperately wants to see Noah Khan at Sing Out Loud. Almost all of my YouTube ads are Sing Out Loud ads. And it's really making me not want to go to Sing Out Loud because I just keep hearing the same ad over and over again.
Yes. Well, the other is, can you imagine?
She wants to go so much.
Can you imagine the answers if Alexa was Alex?
Ugh.
First of all, I don't know if Alex would even listen to the questions from women in the room. That's the first thing, right?
Yeah.
Second thing, it would give dudes the worst advice all the time. Hey, Alex, should I take out my wife or should I go out with the boys?
Alex?
I'm just saying if it was a male version of Alexa, if you just switch the gender of it, the answers you would get back would be so much different.
I do enjoy the Alexa videos where Scottish people are trying to talk to Alexa.
Yes.
And Alexa has no idea what they're saying because the Scottish accent's so thick. Those crack me up. But all in all, Alexas are evil and they're very biased. And I think there's a case for election interference.
I look at those and it's amazing. I wonder where people get the information they get. But when I see an ad like that, buy that stuff, you put faith in it. You put your faith in a machine and you put your faith in somebody. A human is programming that machine. And they have biases. And that's a great example of that bias showing through.
Yeah.
I mean, you would think that the marketing people would go, okay, well, we can listen to a few catchphrases in a house. I love Trump. I hate Trump.
Yeah.
Right. And then all of our marketing can be generated towards that.
Yeah.
You would think that's how you would do that.
But you're assuming they want to make money.
Then you could make the maximum amount of money. You could Michael Jordan the marketing. But they're not doing that.
Yeah.
And so if they're shifting you, if you're asking Alexa those kind of questions on a political issue, trust me, you are getting biased information on everything else that you ask that machine.
Right.
It's programmed in to drive you to whoever's paying the most money, to Amazon or whoever's programming it. That's how this system works.
Yeah.
You think that's an honest answer from a dumb machine? It's smartly programmed to get you to buy some product.
Yeah. Well, you're assuming they want to make money. I don't know that Jeff Bezos is programming or having these answers programmed in because he wants to make money.
Yep.
I think he's having these answers programmed in because he wants power and he thinks there's one candidate that will enable him to have more power and there's one candidate that will perhaps limit or challenge his claim to power. I think it's a billionaire on billionaire pissing contest.
I have a warning for the tech companies, and the warning is Brazil, and the warning is France, and the warning is Great Britain.
Great
So
Britain.
if you don't toe the line in those countries,
Yeah.
they are radically restricting your platform. So you're never going to be free again if you let this happen
Yeah.
in these other countries. If you don't stand up for your fellow tech people,
Yeah.
you're just setting yourself up. It's the old poem about what happened in Germany, right? They came for this person, I said nothing. They came for that person, I said nothing. After 6 or 8 people, right, they finally came for me.
Yeah.
That's what will happen. Government will just continue to restrict it. You'll get favor because you're kissing rear end, like when Pete Melfi sits here next to me, but you're not going to survive. So all those cheap shots that I say about Pete when he's listening online would all be restricted if Pete were an evil person, which he is not.
He's not. I mean, Van Strange is a little shady, but we can get
you
it.
Started it.
You started it.
No, you started it.
Now it's in my head. Van Johnson.
Strange.
Van Johnson.
Van Johnson. That's Don Johnson's brother.
So Elon Musk announced an upgrade to Starlink that they will be launching new satellites that are going to enable Starlink users to access Starlink without having a downlink station on the ground. And he had some people answer back, well, how does this work with regulation of the service? And Elon Musk's answer was fantastic. They can look in the sky and shake their fists.
Yes.
And I laughed right out loud. He said they can shake their fists at the sky.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's the tweet. How does transmitting into a country without a local downlink work on the regulatory side? They can shake their fists at the sky.
Listen, he's a billionaire who is for free speech. Thank goodness there's one of them out there that appears to be for free speech, because without him right now, the social media landscape would be decidedly one-sided, as it was in 2020 and in its infancy in 2016. So it's a much better platform when you have some free speech. Much, much, much better.
And free speech means that you're going to see things that you don't like, and that's just like
you don't ban it. You just turn off. As long as it's not like super really bad stuff. That's always the fun.
You can mute things as long as it's not illegal. Then it doesn't matter whether it's there or not. You cannot look. And the argument's always, well, if you don't like this show or this content, then you can turn the channel. If you don't like what someone's saying, if you think it's offensive, then mute them, block them. You can hide people so you don't have to see what they say.
Yes.
And I think in general, we should all adopt, ironically speaking, since I'm now talking on a podcast, we should all adopt a little more modesty in sharing our every single thought. I think Hollywood would really love it if actors in particular would have a little more hesitation in sharing their every thought. See Disney's Snow White fiasco.
Yeah, they've wasted that. That movie's is horrible.
They tried to.
Peter Dinklage is partially responsible for it as well.
For part of it, yeah.
He's partly, from what I've read,
dude.
Not only did he help actors that were not tall lose 7 jobs.
Yeah.
That only come around once every 60 years when they remake this movie.
Yeah.
So
it's a whole thing. So like Peter Dinklage had his hissy fit of, y'all claim to be woke and your casting choice is supposed to be so progressive, but you're still remaking a movie that features 7 dwarves, which is the actual name of the mythical character that's being portrayed in the story. It's not, they're not supposed to be humans with dwarfism. There's mythical characters called dwarves, and those are the characters They are miners for a reason because dwarves typically are underground digging in mythology. Dwarves are underground digging and they're harvesting gemstones and precious metals from the ground. See J.R. Tolkien and every other writer who's ever included dwarves in their stories pre-1910.
I look at Snow White as the original material girl. She didn't get married to one guy.
Yeah.
She went and lived with 7 dwarves who would bring her gems and precious stones at the end of their workday.
Are you saying
She wasn't married to any of them? I'm not saying anything tawdry was going on. You and Davey can just slow down that
Snow
train
White
of thought.
is the original polyamory propaganda? Is that what you're...
She just said, hey, I'll hang out with you guys, but I want the gems and the gold at the end of the day. And what'd they do? Hi ho, it's off to work we go.
She cleaned and she cooked.
I get that for 7 people. That's not an easy task.
That's not an easy task.
It is not. Mother of 3
Mhm.
plus 1. You got a husband, so it's a plus 1. So yeah, I mean,
If you ever clean up after dudes, you know it's not easy. Oh, look at that. He doesn't know.
I have cleaned up after all manner of people.
Mhm.
Some of the worst messes I have cleaned up have been after.
Not if they're sober, typically.
Drunk
Drunk girl messes. It's a mess.
I have cleaned out college dormitories for most of my life when people move out. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. It's nasty.
And it could have just been a one-off for either sex, but it was still a mess that had to be cleaned up.
It's a mess.
It's a mess.
Mhm.
Speaking of messes that need to be cleaned up,
Yeah.
tomorrow in the morning, 9:04 Now show,
Okay.
Davey will clean up everything.
He was cleaning
The
before we
studio
started
will be
yesterday.
spotless. It will smell good.
Mhm.
Davey, when are there going to be flowers on the desk? I just want a big bouquet of flowers
He
here
needs-
for
he
Pete
needs a flower
and Troy.
budget.
Pete doesn't give him a flower budget?
No.
Okay. Davey will work on the flower budget for you.
We should probably get a camera budget first because these cameras are on their last legs. Cameras, chairs, no comment. Flowers.
I think the chairs are fine. There was all kinds of comments among some workers today, Pete, about the chairs. I think the chairs are fine. I was not one of the workers that had a comment about the chairs.
Mhm.
I thought they were great.
I understand
They're
that
only a few years old, Pete. You can get 20 years out of these chairs.
I understand that they're communal property. I was just suggesting that they get cleaned, and if not cleaned, replaced.
I would rather see a flower budget than a chair budget. I'm just saying.
Some people have allergies.
Mhm.
Why do you hate
the
people?
flowers?
Yeah, to pollen.
saying.
You're a pollen allergist.
Oh, yeah, the FSU mess, Bobby. It's not a mess. That's the Hindenburg went down this weekend.
Did you see? So there's that famous Ben Affleck picture of him like in the throes of some life crisis, and he's obviously in a dark place, leaning
Yeah.
against a wall,
Yeah.
smoking a cigarette.
Mm-hmm.
So there are so many memes of the Gators symbol on superimposed on his t-shirt and the FSU symbol. So there's
So Andy will get a kick out of this. In our family, we have Florida State fans.
Mhm.
We have Gator fans.
yeah,
We have a brother-in-law who is an avid Clemson fan and graduate from Clemson.
yeah, baby.
I sent a meme out that prescribed whiskey for everybody on Saturday
Yeah,
afternoon, Saturday evening. I said,
Clemson's
and we
game
still
didn't
had
go
to
well.
play our game. I was like, so far, collectively, we're 0 for 3, and Monday night's not looking good. We're now
Yeah.
collectively 0 for 4. So my Saturdays are now free. Anybody that wants to hang out on Saturday, let me know. I don't have to worry about a game at noon, 3:30, or at 7 p.m.
Yeah.
I'm good to go.
You can do your favorite thing. You can mow your
Yes.
lawn or wash your car. You love doing
I
that.
kind of like that old quote about how did the season end for you? Well, that
Mhm.
escalated quickly,
Yeah.
right? Anchorman.
That is
Anchorman.
that
That
Anchorman,
escalated
yeah.
quickly. So, all right, we'll be back tomorrow night. We got the Bollocks boys coming in.
Yeah.
We got some trivia. I have great trivia questions. Some are
All right.
leftovers that I didn't get to last week,
Mm-hmm.
and some are some new stupid ones. I used a couple ones here today, which we're going to bring back up the pot threshold. We're going to get a prediction from our prognosticator, politically Troy, political prognosticator. Let's see.
We're gonna talk. We're gonna talk predictions on the weed amendment.
We're gonna talk a little bit. We're not gonna make any predictions, but we are gonna talk about it. So, yeah.
So I hate that we put all this garbage on the Constitution on amendments. I would much rather we pass legislation, and it's cowardly. It's easier to overturn bad legislation than it is to overturn a bad amendment.
What you be talking about, Willis? Obamacare's still in place.
I'm talking state level. I'm not talking federal.
There's plenty of state level stuff that's still on the books that if you read it, you'd be like, wait a minute, that happens every day and it's not illegal, but nobody took it off the books.
Yeah, that's true.
There's all kinds of
those are just because they're forgotten.
I don't think they're forgotten. I just think I think people are too lazy to go take them off the books.
That too. And it makes for fun little videos where people talk about
guess what you
silly
can't
laws.
do in Oklahoma? You can't chew gum on a sidewalk in Oklahoma. Yeah. It's a $50 fine.
No ice cream cones in your pocket.
Somewhere out there, yeah.
I think it's like Tennessee or Arkansas. You can't put an ice cream cone in your pocket. There's a squirrel one.
So many comments, but it's the end of the show, and I don't want to get in trouble. I've managed to get this
so close.
far. Yes, so close. Thank you all. We will see you tomorrow night.
Bye.